Can you spot which one of these is an actual film photo and which one is taken with Fuji using their film recipes? A few weeks ago I posted a video where I compared some film photos taken on my trip to LA to some JPEG photos taken with my Fuji X100 Mark VI using their film recipes, and seems like you guys really liked it. That video also sparked a lot of conversation regarding the matter, mostly good, but also a little bit of salty comments were getting in, saying how film or actually digital as well will always be superior to another, or that you can't really achieve the perfect simulation of a film photo, or that since these film strips were scanned, they are actually digital photos as well, or that in general you can't really compare these kind of photos at the first place. Okay, yeah, for sure, you can't achieve the same results shooting film and using these modern digital cameras, because these are not the same cameras at all. These are using different lenses, different focal lengths, different everything. And that wasn't really the point of the video. It was supposed to be a fun comparison and experiment of these film recipes that people are now using a lot and comparing them to the old-fashioned actual film photos. But that got me thinking, what would it take to make these photos even more close to their film counterparts? On the last video, the only edit I made to the straight out of camera shots were cropping them to 4:5. But what if I remove that restriction from myself and give it all I got? Well, that's what we are going to do today. Okay, so let's start with this one. As I mentioned in the previous video, I think the premises on these Portra 400 film simulations are quite good, but of course it's not the real thing. And I don't really think that's the whole point anyways, but let's see what we can do. I think I will start with some color correcting. The JPEG format is actually color corrected, maybe more natural than the actual film, but since we are mimicking the film, let's make the highlights more warm and green, something like this. And we also need to add some red or magenta tones into the shadows as well. Okay, looks pretty good, but it could be even greener, so let's play with the tint a little bit. And I want these highlights to be brighter, so let's amp up the luminance of those. Just a little bit, something like this. And I want to color correct the road as well. And for that I will use some mask action. Okay, let's do the work for the AI and finish the mask manually. Like that. And then I will make that area more bluish, blue. And some more magenta as well. Maybe a little bit darker as well. Then I also want to adjust the color of the Mustang, since the red is a little off when you are comparing to the film photo. Okay, that's pretty good. So the film photos, they always have this unique softness or blurriness to them, and it's actually one of the main things that will tell the difference between film and digital, I think. So let's lower the texture and clarity as well a little, like that. And of course these film simulations have pretty good grain already burnt into JPEG, but I will add even more grain to this one. Okay, starting to look pretty good. Maybe lift the shadows a tiny bit still. I think we are as far as I want to go inside Lightroom, but as you can see, the JPEG photo is still way too sharp and has this digital look to it, and that's something that I want to fix. There's also some small dust particles and imperfections that we need to add as well. And then there is also these weird light leaks that are of course missing from the digital JPEG. So for all of these, let's open this photo inside Photoshop. So let's start with the hard edges and sharpness. Let's add some lens blur to this and make the whole photo more soft and blurry, I guess. The radius could be something really low, like maybe 4. Okay, let's see. I think I went a little overboard with it. It looks maybe too blurry now, so let's do this one more time. Let's leave it as 2 this time. Okay, now this looks pretty good. I like it. Yeah, very convincing soft blur. But I also want to do this one trick. I will duplicate the layer and let's add even bigger blur to this layer. And as you can see, the whole photo is super blurry now. But actually we only want the blurriness to the edges of the photo, because that's the case in a lot of the film photos. Maybe because of the lenses, I don't know why is it, but let's just do it. Let's add an ellipse mask to the layer and increase the feather quite a bit. And now you can see only the edges are blurry. Maybe a little bit too much, so let's drop the opacity a little. Then let's create these light leaks. I will just use an ellipse tool to create this ellipse. So let's go up to the blending options and drop the opacity of the fill color, and let's add a white stroke. Hit OK. Then I will scale it to match the light leaks on the film photo. Think something like this looks pretty good. Then I will rasterize the layer, since now we are adding some blur to it. Let's go with the lens blur. Okay, and let's also add some Gaussian blur to it as well. Then let's change the opacity setting by setting the blending mode to soft light and lower the opacity a little. Mask the top part out. I actually think this looks pretty convincing. Good job, me. And then the last thing I want to do is to add some dust and other imperfections to this. So I will just paste this texture image I found online on top of it, like this. And with the brush, I will just paint over the super white parts, since I feel like it's a little bit too much. No need to be too careful. Then change the blending mode to screen. Lower the opacity around 30, 28. And okay, let's still mask out some of the dirt on top of the car. And when I toggle this layer on and off, you can see the subtle differences on it, but I think it makes a huge difference actually. And I think that's it. It's not perfect by any means, but I think I just wanted to demonstrate how quickly these Fujifilm film emulations can be turned into these real photo replicas. I'm not sure why though, but I guess there is like a commercial cases where the client wants the photo to look like film or have this film look, and these film emulations with a little bit of editing will go quite far. I did basically the same steps and edited these 2 photos as well, and I think they both turned out quite good. At the first glance, I think they are pretty convincing, but of course when you start to zoom in and pixel peep on it, you will actually start to notice some things. But anyways, I'm not sure why would you ever need to compare film photos with digital ones, because it is a completely different thing and there's huge benefits for both medias. But I guess it was still a fun experiment with these 2 videos. If you didn't see the first one, go and check it out. And let me know if you liked this tutorial and would like to see more tutorials by me, and if so, what kind of tutorials. Anyways, thanks for watching, see you next time.